Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Wednesday, August 7th, day 23. I'm doing a good job at keeping track so far in the Big Brother house. And let's set the table. Slow day overall yesterday. Already did a second podcast yesterday. Thanks again to those of you that gave me feedback. I got some additional feedback last night. And again, everybody that has said anything has pretty much said multiple is okay. And I will do my best to try to do, like I said, I'm going to shoot for 2 a day probably, and then 1 or 2 on the weekend, depending on what's going on and depending on what my time is and how things work out. But as far as yesterday, since I left my last one, yesterday was quiet in the afternoon. A couple of things that happened after I talked to you, or that I hadn't seen until after I talked to you. There was a touching moment where Chemo has some roller coaster emotions. He feels connected, disconnected from the house, kind of isolates himself. I think he's always dealt with these kind of things. Remember, Chemo is gay. He's also had weight issues. He's talked about these in the past, and so he's got a few things going on, probably weighing on in his head at all times. And yesterday was one of those ones where he wasn't feeling super great. And a couple of different people talked to him, tried to console him, tried to, pick him up. He had a heart-to-heart with Tucker. And this goes to actually, there's a few things going on here that are not, they'll show this. I am 100% sure they will eventually show this interaction with lots of tinkling music. Not tonight, but I think they'll show it. They'll actually, speaking of Chemo and Tucker, they're going to show something else. So let's take a half step back. Just saw this morning, CBS released a clip showing part of tonight's show. Part of tonight's show is going to show Chemo telling Tucker about Quinn's power. This happened a week ago. And in reality, it was Chemo confirming Quinn's power to Tucker, because Angela, over a week ago, was going around spouting off about someone having a power, and she told she told Tucker that Quinn had the power. Tucker's the only one that she told, but she told him, she said someone has a power, and she didn't say who, but then she actually told Tucker that it was Quinn. But Tucker didn't necessarily believe her, because Tucker was still on the whole, oh no, Lisa's got a power, but Chemo then, when he and Tucker were alone, actually confirmed to Tucker that Quinn had the power. At the time, people kind of freaked out a little bit at how Chemo was throwing Quinn under the bus. However, 2 things. I have always said, and I think I've said it on here, that I think part of the reason that Chemo was doing it was because it was obvious that Angela was going around telling people. She was telling people that someone had a power. She told Tucker specifically that it was Quinn. And so it's like, well, Angela's going to reveal it. I might as well get some leverage out of this, or get some use out of this knowledge, and share it and confirm it to Tucker, so that Tucker's like, oh, well, Chemo's telling me. And I hadn't thought about the one thing the clip does show is the whole Anderson alliance, which got formed at the very beginning, and it really hasn't been much of an alliance, and is definitely not an alliance anymore, which was the first 4 guys into the have-not room, the first 4 have-nots. So Chemo, Quinn, Tucker, and I think Cam. I think Cam was the 4th. It doesn't really matter, because it's not really an alliance anymore. The key 3 are the Chemo, Quinn, and Tucker. Because Tucker's like, well, he says in the clip in the diary room, well, why aren't you telling the Anderson alliance that you have a power? Because because Quinn wasn't telling anybody except for he told Chemo, who he trusted, dummy apparently, and Angela, which was even stupider to trust her. All right, so they show Chemo telling Quinn that on tonight's show. So bear that in mind. This plays more into it. In the past couple of days, it's kind of come out. Chemo has confided in, I think it was Rubina that he confided this, that he has a bit of a crush on someone in the house. Well, it turned, and that crush is on Tucker. So Chemo has a crush on Tucker. Tucker, and I had forgotten this part, Tucker's father is gay, came out as gay when Tucker was younger. And so there's a relationship there, obviously. Tucker's got a gay father. He's got a relationship there. So Kimo knows that. Obviously, Tucker's going to have, in some ways, is likely to have a better understanding of some of the things that Kimo's going through because this is with his dad. And then Kimo's got a crush on Tucker. Now, does Kimo have a crush on Tucker in part because he knows that Tucker can kind of understand him? Who knows? We don't need to psychoanalyze it too much, even though I kind of am. Just bear all of that in mind. Wrap your brain, including all of that, around the fact that Kimo did tell Tucker about Quinn's power. And as far as yesterday, Kimo has a breakdown. He's basically, it has to be shown on the show. And I recorded it and posted the link, or posted it on my video when I got home last night. Because it is one of those moments where they're talking, Tucker gets up, gives him a hug, and then the tears start to come out of Kimo's eyes just perfectly with the angle of the light, first out of his left eye, then out of his right eye. It's all going great, and this is where probably CBS will do. Then all of a sudden you hear, in my video, because I only have it on one camera, you hear a door open, and it's actually Cam walking into the bedroom. And so there's that awkward moment with Kimo actually in tears, hugging Tucker, and Cam walks into just an awkward situation. He kind of reaches out and kind of pats Kimo gently on the back, doesn't really know what to say, and that's where I ended the video. It just kind of ended there. But, yeah, so there's that moment, okay? I think I mentioned that MJ is trying to rally people a little bit against Cedric. So Tucker, after the meeting on Monday, MJ and Tucker immediately went off into a corner and talked. So remember, not the two power holders, but MJ was expecting to possibly go up and Tucker went up instead. And this whole, even though, I guess it's because Tucker was saying, I didn't want you nominated, I wanted Quinn nominated, that MJ felt a little bit of closeness to Tucker. They have they have a combined reason not to like Cedric, because Cedric was potentially going to put up MJ, and then Tucker didn't expect it to happen. So they're both mad at Cedric. So MJ is kind of like, well, I'll work with him. So we've got a divide starting to happen in the house that's somewhat clear, kind of. You can take Kenny, Tucker, MJ. Now the question is, where does Kimo sit? Is Kimo with the other side, or is Kimo falling in line with Tucker? I don't know. And then Rabina keeps showing her loyalty to Tucker, and Rabina's kind of loyal to Kimo. Is Rabina loyal to that side of the house? It'll be an interesting split if that's the way it ends up going. Just not a likely split that I would have expected. We'll just have to see what happens. What else happened yesterday? That's as far as, other than Takor kind of throwing, who is Takor throwing Rabina under the bus? I think he doesn't. I'm not gonna worry about it right now. Let's just let it go. We're that's enough of the alliance stuff. Most of what happened yesterday was that was the extent of the big stuff. There was also an earthquake in California, and the feeds were down for like 90 minutes. I took a video of the fish cam and used an effect to make it shake and said, looks like the house is rocking. A couple people thought it was actually legit, so no, that wasn't a legit thing. It was just me making a video effect. But when the feeds came back, everybody was sitting outside. They were not talking about the earthquake, but chances are they felt the earthquake. They were just sitting outside. Now, the thought is that maybe they were sent outside because of the earthquake, potential aftershocks, but also it's also possible they were on an outside lockdown, and the they were checking, because remember, that is a studio, right? It is a working studio. There are lights hanging from ceilings and stuff. It is, and so they may have been in there just checking to make sure everything was working. Maybe, things got shook loose. So they could have been on an outside lockdown, or maybe it was over. I don't know. I didn't wait around to see what was going on. They were all in a one big group talking, and when that happens, I generally don't stay around unless they're fighting, right? I did see in the chatter this morning that Quinn mentioned that he is anticipating possibly going up as the America's Choice renom. So that is a possibility, definitely. And so he's preparing himself to play in the AI challenge. So that's the other thing to talk about. Tonight's episode, we'll see the Power Veto competition. We will see the Power Veto meeting. We will see Angela get put up, see her play her power, and then that third seat will be empty, and we will be told, not Julie won't give out the number, the announcer will give out the number. I think I said Julie. I may have tweeted Julie, but yeah, Julie won't be on tonight's show. The announcer will say, who should be America's Choice for the POV, and you vote here, and you've got until blah, blah to vote in this fast talk. Probably, since they don't really have to edit anything for the vote, they may leave the voting open until like noon tomorrow, maybe 3 in the afternoon. I don't know. They may only leave the vote open for a few hours. I'm just not sure. But the voting will be open for a set period of time. You may be able to vote 10 times. You may be able to only vote once. It's hard to tell. It certainly doesn't have to be a subscriber to CBS, because at this point, everything's virtually free on Pluto, right? So that'll be out there. People will be voting like crazy, and we'll have to see how it goes. I think that sums it up for today. That's what I got, I think. Yeah. Maybe we'll have have-nots this week. Well, next week. Oh, we're still on Wednesday. Never mind. This is a Wednesday show. It is not a live eviction. That's tomorrow. So we'll see what happens in the House today. It's very possible it could be another kind of quiet day. They are at the mercy of America. All they can do is decide to vote, who they're going to vote out based on the AI comp. And if, I don't know who said this now, somebody said that the House has decided not to vote out whoever America picks. I don't necessarily agree with that. I just don't. I think that they will potentially very, very much consider it, right? I don't think Tucker will go. But if Tucker's against whoever America puts up, it's possible. But as much as Tucker blew things up, he is not like persona non grata in the House. And he's got enough allies that I don't know if they would get rid of him. I think Kenny, I think Tucker's okay now that the more I think about it, the more I think Tucker's probably okay. Although he's seen as a comp threat in some ways, I'm not sure. So is Kenny. I'm going to lean Kenny first, and then maybe the America's nominee, depending on who it is and where people think about it in the short time they have to consider it. We'll figure out tomorrow. That's going to happen tomorrow. That's what you got from me, guys, for Wednesday morning. I will be back this afternoon. I'm going to try to do a quick update in the late afternoon Eastern time, and we'll figure out if anything has happened, although I'm going to guess nothing has. Right? That's it. Out of here. Thank you to everybody that listens to the commercials at the end of this. It's appreciated. We'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one. Bye.